Alrighty, good morning, Commissioners. Over to you, Chair Herndon.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Washington County Board of Commissioners Tuesday, June 4th, 2024 meeting. Clerk Moss, could you do us the formal honors, please?
Certainly, Chair Harrington. The Washington County Board of Commissioners, also meeting as the Board Directors for Clean Water Services and all other county service districts, is meeting this regular session, June 4th, 2024. Commissioner Willie? Here. Commissioner Rogers? Here. Commissioner Treese?
Here.
Chair Harrington, and I'll announce Commissioner Fye is absent for today.
And I'll say here. So yes, Commissioner Fye is excused today. Thank you, Clerk Moss. All righty. Next up on our agenda is public communication. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak to the board for up to 2 minutes in this segment on any topic you would like?
Yes, we do, Chair Harrington. First up, we have Dale Feek. Dale?
We have it, Mr. Feek. You can go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. I'm Dale Feek. I sent you an email, but you have a hard copy, and as Commissioner Willie said at the beginning, he's already read it. But Ken Burns, renowned documentary film taker, stated the following in his keynote address at Brandeis University to 2024 graduates. For 50 years now, I've diligently practiced and rigorously tried to maintain a conscious neutrality in my work, avoidance advocacy if I could, trying to speak to all of my fellow citizens. Over these many decades, I've come to understand a significant fact, that we are not condemned. This brings me to a moment I've dreaded and forces me to suspend my long-standing attempt at neutrality. There is no real choice this November. There is only the perpetuation, however flawed and feeble you might perceive it, of our fragile 249-year-old experiment, or the entropy that will engulf us if we take the other route. He said route instead of route. The presumptive Republican nominee is the opioid of all opioids, an easy cure for what some believe is a solution to our myriad pains and problems, when in fact, with him, you end up enslaved with an even bigger problem, a worse affliction and addiction, a bigger delusion. We are in an existential crossroads in our political and civic lives. This choice is a choice that could not be clearer. Now, those are just excerpts, part of that. And then at the end, he says, remember what Louis Brandeis said, vote. Now, to listen to Ken Burns' entire speech, click on the link, and I sent it to you so you can click on it and listen to his entire speech. Also, I put on there, in parentheses, do not vote for Donald Trump. But then who do you vote for? As you said, who are we going to vote for if you don't vote for Donald Trump? My solution is Biden, but you have to make your own choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Feek, for ever expanding my media horizons.
Right, next up, Madam Chair, we have Mark Bradley. Mark?
Good morning, Mr. Bradley.
Hello, my name is Mark and your name is Catherine. It's nice to meet you. I would like to discuss about dangerous intersections, which is a Rowley house, because the intersections are way too close to each other. Is there anything that needs to be fixed?
Well, now is a good time for you to pose your question and describe the situation that you would like us to fix. And Clerk Moss has your contact information, and so we can follow up from there. So please tell us more about what you would like.
Well, more about it? It is a dangerous intersection because there's been over like 100 crashes. And the intersections are way too close to each other one, which is located near Southwest Portland.
Well, thank you very much.
And 185th and Baseline's also dangerous too. Need to build light rail bridges. Guess with the upcoming red line extension. Guess rail crossing activates every 2 minutes is no good at all. Guess it screws up the traffic signals. Which is also a bad intersection too. And Brickwood and Cornell, there's been by accidents there too. Need additional left turn lanes. Or maybe a larger roundabout could work too. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much for your input. We'll look into that and get back in touch with you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us today in person. Clerk Moss, anyone else for today?
I did not see anyone else sign up in the auditorium. Would anyone else in the auditorium wish to provide public comment for up to 2 minutes on any calendar-related topic? Not seeing anyone else in the room. Would any member online via Zoom wish to provide public comment on any calendar-related topic? Give you just a moment to utilize raise hand function. Not seeing any hands. Chair Harrington.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. Next, we'll move on to today's consent agenda. The agenda consists of 14 different items, 1 set of minutes, 2 items from Clean Water Services, 2 items from the Office of Community Development, 2 items from Health and Human Services, 6 items from Land Use and Transportation, and 1 item from Housing. What are the wishes of the Commission regarding today's consent agenda?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting today's consent agenda, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Anyone opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next, we'll move on to boards and commissions. And today we have 3 different types of appointments to do today. First up is the Developmental Disabilities Advisory Council. We've talked about this in work session on May 21st. We have a proposal before us to reappoint Cindy Otis, Deborah or Debbie McKnight, and Cindy Wilkins to the Developmental Disabilities Advisory Council with terms ending February 28, 2027. What are the wishes of the Commission with regard to this proposal?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. And thank you to those 3 individuals for contributing your time and energy in this important area. Next, we're moving on to an aspect of land use and transportation. This is just a committee for a portion of Washington County. We have a proposal to appoint Donald Odermatt and Anthony Walters to the vacant community representative positions on the Northwest Area Commission on Transportation, also known as Northwest ACT, for a term ending December 2025. What are the wishes of the Commission?
So moved.
We have a motion, and would one of you be willing to second?
Sure.
Thank you. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0, and thank you to those 2 individuals for serving in that capacity. Next, we're moving on to the Washington County Planning Commission. We've had a midterm vacancy. A member of the committee moved out of the county. So we have an opportunity to appoint Amber Rosenberry to the Planning Commission to complete the remainder of that 4-year term, which would have ended or would be ending July 31st of 2025. And we'd also like to continue that appointment for a subsequent 4-year term expiring January 31st of 2029. What are the wishes of the Commission?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you, Ms. Rosenberry, for joining the Planning Commission. They hear a variety of policy and development topics for the rural and urban unincorporated areas, as well as some of our county-wide plans, so we appreciate your sharing your time and expertise. Next, we're moving on to proclamations. It's an exciting time here in the month of June. So we have some community and employee representatives to help us proclaim June of 2024 as LGBTQ+ Pride Month. So I would like to invite all of them up to our presentation table and remind us all that we do have an opportunity for a picture-taking opportunity. So everyone who would like to join us later in a few minutes to participate in that will be invited to join us. So, Danny, I'm going to kick it over to you. So you're going to be our MC host.
Awesome, thank you. Well, good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Danny Ledesma. I'm an Assistant County Administrator, and I get the honor of serving as your Interim Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer. And I'm so pleased and honored to be able to offer a few introductory remarks on Pride Month before I turn it over to our fabulous and wonderful staff here to read the proclamation. So, Washington County Cultural Heritage and Identity Celebrations and resource pages are an important starting point for our collective organizational engagement and learning about equity, diversity, and inclusion. These celebrations are super fun, but they also offer an opportunity to hear and to enter into relationship with staff and community who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, two-spirit, or questioning, and many other identities in this community. To build trust and to deepen our understanding of these diverse and growing communities in Washington County. These celebrations also create an opportunity to learn about the historic and present oppression of the LGBTQ+ community and the community's resilience in the face of that oppression, so that we can reflect on whether or not our current policies and sentiments support the well-being and belonging of LGBTQ+ community and address historic exclusion. We all know that no culture is monolithic. All cultures, ethnicities, and nationalities encompass a range of diverse life experiences and opinions. Consequently, the celebrations and resource pages may not present a comprehensive picture of the nuances or full range of opinions within any culture or subculture. However, we do know the Heritage Month committees are thoughtful about the learning opportunities that they share with the Washington County community. We encourage people who may be curious about what is not presented or the policy implication of what is shared this month to reach out to us, either at OEICE or to open a dialogue with colleagues and or the planning committees. So I would like to thank the dozens of staff volunteers who have continued to meet throughout the year to plan and organize exciting opportunities to connect learning and celebration of the LGBTQIA2S+ community. Your commitment to increasing visibility and acceptance of members of this community is really invaluable and what makes our Washington County sing. So this year's Pride Month committee includes, and I really want to spend some time talking about the names here. So Highland Edelman, Cody Elizade, Adam Fox, Vicki Horn, Tricia Kennedy, Greg Harris Kopkow, Michelle Mitchell, Cassandra O'Donnell, Richard Palazuelos, Paul Riggs, and Jacob Rosales. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Cassandra O'Donnell for the reading of our 2024 LGBTQIA2+ Pride Spirit Month proclamation.
Thank you, Danny. Hi, I'm Cassandra, and I'll be starting off the proclamation here. A proclamation in honor of LGBTQIA2S+ Pride Month, June 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2024. Whereas, our country was founded on the principle of equal rights for all people, but the fulfillment of this promise has been too long in coming for many Americans, including those who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning, intersex, asexual, and two-spirit plus people. And, whereas, an historic turning point in the movement towards equal rights for LGBTQ plus people occurred on June 28, 1969, at the Stonewall Inn in New York City, when LGBTQ plus community members rose up and fought back against brutal police raids and discriminatory criminal laws that have since been declared unconstitutional. And
whereas the first LGBTQ plus Pride Parade took place 1 year after the Stonewall riots on June 28, 1970, to commemorate the events at Stonewall, launching what would become an annual national tradition of Pride celebrations every year since then. And whereas we remember that the uprising at Stonewall was led by people of color and Black and Latinx trans members of the LGBTQ plus community, and that past and present battles for racial and LGBTQ plus justice in this country were built on the shoulders of courageous change makers like Jose Sarria, Maxine Perkins, Donna Burkett, Manonia Evans, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, as well as many others. And
whereas, though the struggle for federal rights and protections for LGBTQ plus people persist, on June 11, 1999, Pride Month was federally recognized for the first time, commemorating the 30th anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising. And whereas on June 24, 2016, the Stonewall Inn was designated as a national monument, forever preserving this historic site where the modern LGBTQ plus civil rights movement began. And whereas in our country's continuing struggle to seek justice for Black lives, our current Pride Month celebrations underscore the critical role that intersectionality plays in the fight for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning justice. And
whereas, even with continued attempts at the local, state, and federal levels to enact oppressive legislation that threatens the rights, safety, and very lives of LGBTQ plus people, their struggle for dignity and equality is reflected in their tireless dedication to forge a more inclusive society, along with support from committed advocates and allies. And whereas, the great diversity, invaluable contributions to our communities, and enduring activism of the LGBTQ plus community can never be canceled or forgotten. And
whereas love wins. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this 4th day of June, 2024, the Washington County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim June 1st through June 30th, 2024 as LGBTQIA 2S plus Pride Month, and encourage all residents to celebrate our unique and vibrant history and recommit ourselves to a shared future of healthy, peaceful, safe, and sustainable communities for all.
Thank you to our panelists for bringing this forward for our action today. Commissioners, any comments or motions? So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting said proclamation, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you. And I would like to invite our panelists, as well as any other audience members who would like to stand with us in partnership, to please join us in a photo opportunity.
Do you want to switch it? Do you want to switch it? There you go. No, go ahead. Mine doesn't have a flash. and you'll say, love wins. Love wins. Let's try it again, please. 1, 2, 3. Love wins. You're wrong. Thank you.
Oh, no, that's okay. You're doing everything. While we all get settled back in, next on our agenda, we have 3 different action items. So the first one, I'd like to invite up our land use and transportation experts to help us all appreciate the work that's gone into laying out a list of projects as well as updated administrative rules for the next round of transportation projects here in Washington County.
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Glad to be here before you. I wanted to just make a few introductory remarks, and then Jessica's going to run through a brief PowerPoint, and then I'll have a few concluding remarks, and then we'll be seeking, as you said, your board's approval of the MSTIP 3F funding allocation and some updated administrative procedures for the program. So first, I just want to acknowledge your board's strong ongoing commitment to supporting a connected, safe, and multimodal countywide transportation system. Your board recently authorized the issuance of bonds to complete the remaining MSTIP bonding cost-sharing projects and to close the unprecedented funding gap caused by exponential cost escalation for our MSTIP 3D and 3E projects. With that funding gap addressed through the bonding, we're now ready to move forward with your adoption of the MSTIP 3F funding allocation and kick off the next round of transportation projects to improve our countywide transportation system. This adoption milestone today has been almost 3 years in the making. Your agenda notes the many times that we've been before your board seeking guidance and direction on this proposal. We've also had extensive community engagement and worked closely with our cities through the Washington County Coordinating Committee and the WCCC Transportation Advisory Committee. The proposed MSTIP 3F allocation reflects the program's longstanding commitment to ensuring that projects benefit areas throughout the county and builds improvements that will improve traffic flow and connectivity while improving safety for all street users, whether driving, using transit, cycling, walking, or rolling. It expands the Opportunity Fund, which has leveraged more than $5 in regional, state, or federal funds for every $1 of MSTIP funds committed by providing a source for grant matching. The Opportunity Fund has been critical to the planning and construction of significant cycling and pedestrian improvements throughout the county. The MSTIP 3F program also includes a new large project match fund, which extends leverage opportunities to larger projects, hopefully bringing even more regional, state, and federal funds here to Washington County. It also expands other important funding allocations that will continue improving our transportation system. We've been doing all of this work, obviously in coordination with you, with our cities, but also with the County Administrative Office and the Finance Department. We've had ongoing discussions about how we can continue supporting our transportation system while helping to ensure long-term general fund sustainability, and that work is ongoing. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica Pelz, LUT's policy analyst. She'll walk us through a brief presentation with more specifics on the proposal, and then I'll have a few, as I said, concluding remarks before we seek your board's approval. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, Chair and Board. I'm Jessica Pelz, LUT Policy Analyst. We're so happy to be here today. This has been almost 3 years in the making to get to today, so we're really happy to come and present this to you for adoption consideration. As Stephen said, we have 2 requested board actions this morning: to approve 2 resolutions and orders. 1, to adopt the MSTIP 3F funding allocation, and 2, to adopt the updated MSTIP administrative procedures. So I'm just going to quickly go through the MSTIP 3F funding allocation and the administrative procedures update. First up, the MSTIP 3F funding allocation. So again, this completes a collaborative process that began in fall 2021 with the board's approval of the work plan and included robust community engagement throughout. The WCCC reviewed the draft MSTIP 3F funding allocation and they recommended board approval at their March 2024 meeting. Your board reviewed their recommendation at your April 16th work session and directed staff to bring this forward for formal adoption. An overview of the MSTIP 3F funding allocation includes $195 million for capital projects allocation. And that includes projects in design, right-of-way acquisition, and construction phases. It includes $13 million for opportunity fund allocation, $30 million for the new large project match allocation, $10 million for rural bridges allocation, and $2 million for intelligent transportation systems allocation, for a total MSTIP 3F package of $250 million. So I'm going to quickly go through the sub-allocations included in that. The capital project list approved by MSTIP 3F includes 13 projects crossing all 4 districts, and that includes Alexander Street, 205th Avenue Bridge, Beaverton Downtown Loop Phase 1, Watson Avenue, Walker Road improvements on both sides of the Walker Road Cedar Hills intersection, so to make a nice long segment there, Edie Road in Sherwood, Greenberg Road in Tigard, Herman Road and the Herman-Sipol intersection in Tualatin, and then Highway 47 at Southwest Fernhill Road, Maple Street in Forest Grove, Glencoe Road, West Union Road intersection in North Plains, North 19th Avenue project in Cornelius, Cornell Road, Brookwood Parkway intersection in Hillsborough, and then Wren Road, Sussbauer Road intersection in the rural area. And we do have a map showing the project locations. They are shown in blue on this map, and you can see that they are distributed throughout the county. Next, we have the Opportunity Fund. MSTIP has historically included a set-aside for bike and pedestrian projects since 1990. This program was reimagined as the Opportunity Fund in 2012. The program leverages federal, state, and other funding opportunities by providing local match dollars for competitive grants. And since 2012, the Opportunity Fund has leveraged almost $63 million in external funding using $12.5 million in MSTIP funds. This has been hugely successful. Our new large project match allocation is intended to provide a flexible central matching fund source for large federal and state grant opportunities that are hard to provide match for in any other case. We listed 5 projects here as eligible for this first round of large project match, and these projects all represent ones that were proposed by cities or the county for MSTIP funding. And those include 170th Avenue, 185th Avenue Max Light Rail Overcrossing, the Basalt Creek Parkway Extension, Beaverton Hillsdale Highway, Olson Road, Shoals Ferry Road intersection, and that would be for preliminary intersection design and alternatives analysis, and Farmington Road. For this program, we've set up a review process similar to the MSTIP Opportunity Fund expenditure approval, except with a Board of County Commissioners review and approval element as well, and this is reflected in the updated MSTIP administrative procedures. We have set aside $10 million for rural bridges allocation. Rural bridge maintenance and replacement of aging timber structures and other structures occasionally is a crucial part of the county's bridge management program. These bridges are generally not competitive for other MSTIP funding, and they're difficult to fund in other ways as well. So this allocation helps improve the overall safety of the countywide transportation system. And $2 million for ITS allocation, which occasionally gets confusing, but in this case is Intelligent Transportation Systems. And these projects deploy technology to improve transportation efficiency, mobility, and safety through operational and maintenance strategies. This includes things like transit signal priority, emergency vehicle preemption of signals, things like that to increase safety of the system. This allocation provides for continued progress toward implementation of the county ITS plan. It is also typically used as leverage funding to supplement other funding or projects. So that concludes the MSTIP 3F funding allocation update. And then we have also included a resolution in order to update the MSTIP administrative procedures. The administrative procedures haven't been updated for the last 20 years, so it was time for some modernization of terms and procedures. The administrative procedures outline the duties and responsibilities of the program and contain guidelines for program administration, including roles for the director, the board, the WCCC, and the MSTIP program manager. So the updates include general updates to improve clarity and reflect current practices, organizational structure, and authority. We updated sections, including duties and responsibilities, program and project cost control, contingency, and project agreements. And we added a few new sections, especially to describe the 5 major components of MSTIP funding that I just went through, but are enumerated in the procedures: capital project improvements, intelligent transportation systems, rural bridges, opportunity fund, and large project match. And so to conclude, our requested board action is that you approve 2 resolution and orders: 1, adopting the MSTIP 3F funding allocation, and 2, adopting the MSTIP administrative procedures. And I'm going to turn it over to Stephen for some closing remarks.
Great, thank you. Well, again, I just want to thank your board for coming along on this journey with us. It's been a lengthy process. We also want to, of course, thank our partners at our cities, and there are a number of LUT team members that have contributed to this effort and contribute every day to the ongoing success of this program. I want to just list a few of those key LUT team members. This is the tip of the iceberg, as I've said before. There are a whole lot of others that have played a part in this, but I do want to call out just a few folks. So, of course, Jessica here has been our project manager getting us through this funding allocation process. Erin Wardell is our Planning and Development Services Manager. She has played a key role in helping to formulate and prioritize the projects. Russ Knoble is our current Capital Project Services Division Manager, and in terms of the administrative procedures, functions as the MSTIP Program Manager. Joe Yonkins was our former Capital Project Services Manager. He retired in the middle of this sort of drawn-out process, but very much appreciate his work toward getting to this point. I want to thank Cindy Downey as a senior finance analyst who is embedded in our capital projects team. She's been instrumental in really helping us with the funding side of this and helping to ensure that we are charting a sustainable path. Mark Adams is our interim senior administrative services manager, and then Mark's predecessor, Sheila Giambrone, also played an important role in helping us get to this point today. And of course, I couldn't pass up thanking Melissa DeLicer and Heather Sturgill of our communications team for really helping us through a robust community engagement process and just trying to help ensure that we are keeping folks informed and really getting their input to help shape these recommendations. And so with that, as you see on the slide here, the requested board action, we are seeking, and these are 2 different agenda items. I just wanted to remind you, 2 action items: to approve the proposed MSTIP 3F funding allocation, and then to adopt the updated MSTIP administrative procedures. And we're happy to answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that great presentation. So at this juncture, what are the wishes of the commission? I'm opening the floor for, comments as well as a motion to adopt the resolution and order approving the $250 million MSTIP, Major Streets Transportation Improvement Program, 3F funding allocation as described within our packet as well as presented.
I have a couple of comments. One, thank you for the work. I'm in support of the allocation. Just for future reference, a couple of points. One, I hope that we don't lose sight of those rural bridges. $10 million is nothing, as we know. And I know you're stretched for dollars. It's always difficult. But I hope that in future allocations, that we can look at the rural bridges. The other thing is that I hope that somehow in some land far, far away, we can find more money for opportunity funds. Those are absolutely outstanding in terms of match, and you guys have done a really fine job of advancing that. So I will be voting on the first item, yay. On the second, adopting the administrative procedures, I'll be voting no. That's not because I don't think you did a good job. I support about 95+% of it. I just like the softening language between the board and the WCCC and how we partner with them more. But this isn't anything inconsistent. I've said it 100 times up here, and that's the only comment I'm going to make other than to vote when time comes up.
Any other commissioner comments? Okay, I'll go last then. I would like to acknowledge Mr. Mark Brady's comments earlier today with regard to intersections, and there are several intersection improvements provided in today's 3F proposals. I also want to applaud my colleagues and my effort to ensure we're moving forward with certainty on the prior project set for MSTIP 3D, 3E, and high growth projects. That's a $150 million investment that we will be following through on in terms of full faith and credit bonding, which will, of course, have some finance costs to it, but it allows us to get through that long list of projects that have been building up and building up and building up because of the travel growth here in our community. As mentioned, not exclusively, but frequently, investments in MSTIP projects have been done on a pay-as-you-go basis. So every single year, an amount of funding comes in and we move along. Well, the pay-as-you-go model hasn't been able to keep up with the needs, which is why this board has already given direction to move forward with the $150 million bonding. Now, this is another piece for advancing transportation needs, a $250 million investment. So combined, that's $400 million that we're dedicating for local transportation investments. That's pretty historic, folks, for the Board of Commissioners to invest in that magnitude of advancing transportation travel solutions here in Washington County. I also want to recognize several other improvements, major significant improvements that we are making, have made, and continue to make with our expert staff. So as mentioned, we have this county-wide transportation system, but we haven't had the level of visibility and management for the entire set. But we do now, as a result of transportation being a part of our comprehensive County Capital Improvement Program, our CIP. So as part of our processes this year, we have adopted the CIP for the next 5 years, 24 through 2029, with over 80 transportation projects and $167 million alone within this upcoming fiscal year. I want to give a huge thank you to our Washington County staff. Your level of collaboration and partnership with the board, with fellow elected officials throughout the county, as well as staff in all of our partner jurisdictions. But I particularly want to say from me, thank you for your diligence in constructing new systems. For example, that CIP, the equitable community engagement, and the extensive community engagement that you've had for the 3F process. And it's not just for 3F, there were other land use and transportation projects that were part of that as well. For example, you were at farmers markets, you held special focus groups. Thank you for advancing our systems in service to our community. I also want to thank you, my second thank you, is for your diligence in re-reviewing cost estimates and deploying modern systems to revisit the projects and making sure that our subsequent delivery will be serving the best interests of our communities. It took work, it took diligence and patience. And I appreciate that, especially over these last few years where the supply chain's been totally out of whack and the cost levels for materials, for labor, for construction services expertise has grown and grown. I also want to say thank you for answering my questions and concerns, especially regarding rural bridges, so that we as a county are able to keep up. And our staff knows that some of these questions came up through our annual budget cycle. MSTIP is a community investment choice here in Washington County, enabling us to try to catch up with the growth needs. But make no mistake, there is a big backlog of projects. So state legislators, please take note. We have fully leveraged our Washington County resources. And like all 36 counties in Oregon, we need help from the state, especially if you want Washington County to foster business and housing growth in the years and decades ahead. Those were my comments. So now, commissioners, I would ask for a motion to adopt the resolution in order approving the $250 million Major Streets Transportation Investment Program, MSTIP, 3F funding allocation, as noted. Thank you, Commissioner Rogers, for the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pam Treese, Commissioner Treese, for the second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Oh, and I had one last comment. On your slide and in your documents, you talked about the 5 different funding categories for 3F. And I want to note, I love numbers, on the project allocations, 78% of the dollars going there. But I do want to note this new match program, the large project match, earning 12%, which is significant because of the nature of those projects being significant as well. So I think it's appropriate, but it does have an effect on the overall distribution. And one thing that I think we need to look out for in further years for a 3G, and we follow the number 3 because MSTIP 3 was the last project set for a serial levy that we voters approved in 1995. So we're just continuing our investment scheme in transportation. So there will be a future. But I think between now and a 3G, an area that Commissioner Rogers and I have shared interest in during our elected careers is the intelligent transportation systems. These are things, it's, all the computer systems and intelligence behind leveraging the timing and the capacity of signals, not just the red, yellow, green ones, but also crossing signals as well. So the number of intersections continues to grow in Washington County, but also the need not only to move vehicles through, but also pedestrians. Because pedestrians, all people, whether you're behind a wheel or rolling or walking, we all only have the same 24 hours in a day. So there may need to be some work done in analyzing how things are working for the major travel modes. And I'm not sure that 0.8% is going to cut it with regard to doing such examination and experimenting with different solutions in different places, like in downtowns versus on major arterials that are spread out. So I should have made that comment a lot earlier in the cycle, but I wanted to make sure I noted it today. So thank you, everyone, for your patience. All right, now we're moving on to the second part, the administrative procedures for the MSTIP program. Commissioner Rogers has made his comments, and before I ask my colleagues, my remaining colleagues, for comments on this action, I would ask if you have any comments or willingness to make a motion.
Well, I guess I'd like, Roy, that's the first time I've heard you say that you would not support this adoption, so could you give me a little bit more insight as to what your concerns are?
I'd have to go, yes, I'd have to go paragraph by paragraph, but again, 95%, you did a terrific job. I just had hoped that there might be a little more emphasis on the partnership of WCCC with the county. I clearly understand the board has the ultimate authorities. It just didn't seem like it was very robust in that area. So that was the only issue I had. But it's nothing I haven't said before, and I didn't plan Jerry making any big point about it. I just thought that if we could do that, that would be it.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you, colleagues. We have a motion and a second. I will follow up with my comments before voting, and that is, as noted, the last time these administrative procedures were updated was 20 years ago. There's been ample opportunity to implement suggestions along the way, but we really need to follow up. For example, our independent elected program auditor, not finance auditor, our program auditor here in Washington County has also reviewed this material. And I did read every single line and believe that this documentation is consistent with the prior documentation while also modernizing the language and reflecting the way things have been working. I also appreciate that the administrative rules are making it clear what the new program sections are and the nature of the sizing of the large projects and the bringing it forward to the board's attention for the final approval, especially given the nature of state legislative and federal legislative asks, which is very different than following up with grants that are decided, for example, at the state staff level. So really appreciate the follow-up on that. I also appreciate the process that we've used so that this work is transparent and open, available to everyone. There has been involvement in looking and evaluating these procedures, and all comments have been welcomed along the way. So job well done, staff. And now we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving, please raise your hand or say aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? Thank you, Commissioner Rogers. The motion passes 3-1. Next, we'll move on to our third and final action item for today's meeting. That is to accept the resignation of Brad Anderson as County Counsel and appoint Cortney Duke-Driessen as the Interim County Counsel. What are the wishes of the commission?
So move.
Second, with comment.
Go ahead, Commissioner Rogers.
My comment is this, and it's to Brad, and I don't know if he's listening here later on. I just want to thank, and I probably can speak for the board as well. They can chime in if they don't agree, but I think they do. What a fine job you've done over your long career here. You've certainly been a great help to the board on many very technical issues, and so much so that you've been recognized as an expert around the state on a variety of matters. And so, Brad, we are accepting your resignation. We wish you the very best in whatever your endeavors might be in the future, but you've done a terrific job for Washington County, and I thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rogers.
Well said, Roy. Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Roy, and thank you, Brad.
I would also like to add that in addition to those comments that Commissioner Rogers brought forward that we all support, I also want to thank Cortney for stepping forward as our interim county counsel to help continue momentum while we open a national-wide search for a new permanent county counsel here in Washington County. So onward ho we go. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor on the requested action, thank you very much for raising your hands. Any opposed? The motion carries 4-0 unanimously. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to our second public comment period for today's meeting. Clerk Moss, is there anyone who wishes to address us in person?
I did not see anyone sign up in the auditorium. Would anyone that came into the auditorium wish to provide public comment for up to the board for up to 5 minutes? Give your head stay forward. Not see anyone else. But thank you, Mr. Bradley. You commented at the beginning, so it's one or the other, but thank you. Not seeing anyone else. We did have one online, Kristen Griffey. Kristen, can you hear us?
Kristen, are you there?
May need to hit *6 on the phone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we can.
Please, you have 5 minutes to address us on any topic you would like. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed listening to this. My name is Kristen Griffey, and I really just kind of want to echo what was said earlier at the first community comment about eliminating railroad crossings 100% to be grade separated bridges only, and really would love to see starting points at dangerous intersections like 185th and Baseline and Raleigh Hills, and that's all I've got for now.
Thank you very much for contributing your thoughts. We really appreciate it.
All right. Would any other member online via Zoom wish to provide public comment for up to 5 minutes? Give you just a moment to utilize raise hand function. Not seeing any other hands. Chair Harrington.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. Next, we'll move on to board announcements. So following standard procedure, I will announce our future meetings. You can also find not only these meetings listed, but also a week in advance of the meetings. You can generally find our packets very easily on the county website, washingtoncountyor.gov. So next Monday, June 10th, we'll have our monthly board roundtable. 9 a.m. is our start time. Tuesday, June 11th, we'll have our work session day starting at 9 a.m. The following Tuesday will be our Turbo Tuesday with a work session starting at 9, pausing for later in the day, generally 1 o'clock. Then our Housing Authority Board of Directors meeting that will start at 10 a.m. Then following that meeting, we'll meet in our Board of Commissioners meeting, similar to today's meeting, but it'll be a big day because that is the day that we're slated to adopt not only the Washington County budget, but the Service District for Lighting, Urban Road Maintenance District, Enhanced Sheriff Patrol District, as well as the Clean Water Services budgets. So a lot of public hearings, a lot of formal adoption per state requirements. The 19th is a holiday here in Washington County for Juneteenth and all across the state of Oregon. Thursday, June 20th, I invite all of you to attend our State of the County Forum right here in the Washington County Auditorium in Hillsborough starting at 6 p.m. That will also be available on social media channels. The following Tuesday, June 25th, we'll have our work session in the afternoon starting at 2 and our board meeting in the evening at 6:30. And then we're faced with the month of July. And that first week of July, Tuesday, July 2nd, we will not be having Board of Commissioner meetings. So look for us the following week, July 9th. And that's it for upcoming meetings. Are there any other board announcements commissioners wish to share at this time? Seeing none, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
So move. Second.
All those in favor of adjournment, please vote by raising your hand. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Thank you.